Thank you very much, Michael and Dave. Galera Corja, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see so many here and such interest in this really important scheme. And it is a real pleasure for me to be here on what is a very significant day to launch the First Home scheme, as Michael has said. One of the first meetings actually I had just over 2 years ago in July 2020 when I became Minister was about setting up this scheme. So it's a culmination of 2 years' work by many, many people working together collaboratively and to bring this to fruition, which is as I said, very significant. Few bumps along the road, that was fine, we ironed them out and we're here today, which is great. Today will see us deliver on a key government commitment in Housing for All, which puts affordability and the opportunity to own a home back at the heart of government policy. Home ownership, in my view and in government's view, is good for individuals, it's good for families, it's good for communities, and it's good for this country. Every single independent survey we see shows that the vast majority of renters want to own their own home. Most renters would much rather pay down a mortgage on a home that they own than pay rent to someone else every month. That's the option which this First Home scheme gives them. It offers a helping hand to those households who have saved for a deposit, worked hard to secure a mortgage, but who find that the cost of a new home is just out of their reach. From our perspective in government, the objectives of the First Home scheme are to increase accessibility and affordability of home ownership. It is for this reason that First Home is specifically targeted towards the purchase of new homes in the private market. Our objective is also to stimulate an increase in supply by creating confidence in the sector that there is a pipeline of realisable, purchase-ready demand for starter homes suitable for first-time buyers and for those under the Fresh Start principle. This is absolutely necessary if we're to address the current and indeed the future housing needs of this country. The First Home scheme is one of the most significant government interventions in housing in a generation. It is a pivotal element of the government's wide-ranging affordable housing strategy, but it's just one of a number of measures which we are rolling out and which are starting to bear fruit. Housing for All tasks us in government and me as Minister to deliver 54,000 affordable homes and cost rental homes between now and 2030. Cost rental, thankfully, is now a reality. It didn't exist 12 months ago. And for the first time ever in Ireland, local authorities, affordable purchase homes will be delivered this year from €166,000 upwards. The First Home scheme is ready to deliver right now, helping to make home ownership a reality for people this year. The equity share model utilised by the state, which you'll hear more about and in more detail shortly, is an innovative way of making home ownership more accessible and more affordable. This equity takes the shape of an investment by the First Home DAC. So let me be really clear. This is not a debt or a second mortgage, despite what some in opposition have continued to say. We've also been informed by experience and learnings of comparable schemes in other jurisdictions which have worked effectively and have increased supply in some areas by 14%. However, we've certainly not been bound by these examples, and we've crafted a model that reflects the inputs of all stakeholders and which is tailored specifically for the Irish market. Our scheme is very much a targeted intervention. It looks specifically at the gap between the people's available mortgage financing and the cost of the new home they want to buy. The scheme will give people the level of support which they need to make home ownership a reality for them. This allows us to utilise our resources to the full and to help an increased number of aspiring homeowners. Colleagues here today from the participating banks, AIB, Bank of Ireland, Permanent TSB, the Banking Payments Federation of Ireland, along with officials from my department, the Department of Finance and the Housing Agency, have continued to work both collaboratively and intensively to make this commitment a reality. And today is the proof of their efforts. And I want to thank you most sincerely for all your dedication and work over the last 2 years. I would also like to particularly thank all of the officials who have worked on the development of First Home, including the staff in the Housing Agency, the Department of Finance, and indeed my own department. A key characteristic of the First Home scheme is that it is delivered in strategic partnership with the mortgage lending sector. In the most basic terms, the matched funding element of the scheme means that the state's commitment of €200 million has been doubled to €400 million by the contribution of participating mortgage lenders. So the scheme will have increased funds to help more people access home ownership. The shared funding and governance of the scheme also means that the state and indeed the participating mortgage lenders are sharing both the risks and the benefits of the equity share model. I regard the participation and funding commitments from the three founding mortgage lenders as a huge statement of confidence in this scheme. It is a sustainable model which can and will work to enable home purchases which otherwise simply would not have happened, and which is reasonable and understandable in the terms of its requirements and the conditions for customers. As partners with the state, the banks have played a central role in creating this scheme. So I would like to particularly thank the banking sector staff, the BBFI staff who have worked so closely with my own department and with the Department of Finance. I would also like to especially mention, if I could for the third time, the staff of the Banking and Payments Federation of Ireland, whose help was absolutely invaluable and who coordinated the involvement of the three founding banks. And as we progress First Home, we are open and will be open to the participation of as many mortgage lenders in the Irish market as possible to deliver the best possible choice for home buyers. And I can tell you that initial discussions have already been undertaken with further mortgage lenders to enter this scheme. I would also like to give my thanks and to offer my very best wishes to the staff of the First Home scheme, led by the Interim Chief Executive, Michael Broderick, who has been absolutely superb. I know that Michael especially has played a huge role in the establishment of the scheme, and today marks the beginning of your job, Michael, in delivering this much needed support to home purchasers. From his previous work in HBFI, he brings with him experience of the financial aspects of the Irish housing system, together with a very clear understanding of the role of public intervention in the market. In conclusion, friends, I'll finish by saying that in the past year, since we've been able to get out and about right around the country and meeting people again, I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of people who need help to purchase their own home. And they were, to be frank, losing hope, and I get that. That's why I brought forward the First Home scheme, which not only offers them hope, but is a real, practical and genuine support available from right now, today, for any new build development anywhere in this country. I know it will make a real difference for those who need it. And this scheme, along with the many other affordable housing measures under Housing for All, will make the dream of home ownership a reality. Go raibh míle maith agaibh go léir.